before going to the science. My name is Francesca and I'm a postdoc at UCSD. I actually work in this building too, so that's the amazing view that I have every single morning. I did my PhD, I graduated at the University of Torino in Italy in pharmaceutical chemistry and technologies. Then I moved to England, to Manchester, where I finished a Master of Research and a PhD in stem cell biology. And the fact that I was relatively successful, I think, is due to the fact that in Manchester it rains all the time. And what I mean all the time is 360 days a year. So you can only do two things in Manchester. You lock yourself in a pub, you drink beer, and you watch football or soccer, how you say it here. Or you lock yourself in the lab and you do science. And I did plenty of both. So that's why I really like to be here for this festival. I think it suits me a lot. It reminds me of my day during my PhD. So thank you very much to all the organizers that put the effort to put this together. And I'm really glad to see so many people, also familiar faces. After I completed my PhD, I had enough of the humidity and the rain, so I moved to San Diego. Across the street, there is the Sanford Burnham Institute, and I work on stem cells and a rare disease until I stumbled upon this project in placenta development, and I kind of fall in love. Ooh. So I really like this subject, so I hope I will spark a little bit of interest in this organ as well. So let's go on. I have another disclosure to do before I start with the science, which is this is my first attempt to this type of talks, so bear with me, and please, interaction is really welcome, so if I say something that you don't know, please ask in the just interrupt me. And one of the issues that I had, and I want you to interact with me, is because I really don't have a sense of what people know about placenta. So I made a bit of assumptions. If you know as much as I knew before this project, was very little about placenta. So let's see how we can go on. So what is placenta? I assume everybody knows and associate placenta with pregnancies, but what's this function? So in this area of technology, placenta can be seen as an interface between the mother and the growing embryo. So the function is actually to supply the growing embryo with all the nutrients and oxygen that needs to grow. So if you think about what you do, where you get your nutrients, the placenta has the same function as your lungs and your breathing system, as well as your gastrointestinal tract. So that's why I think the placenta is one of the first organs that are very important for life. The other function of the placenta is to allow all the waste that the embryo is making while it's growing to get back to the mother, to the bloodstream. So again, the placenta is the interface between the mother bloodstream and the growing embryo. Now, we have two elements here, and I now do have a question for you. So, who makes the placenta? Is it the mother who makes the placenta because it allows the embryo to then get all the nutrients, or is it driven by the embryo that then needs to attach and get to the bloodstream of the mother to get the nutrients? So 50% of chance. And I give you another twist. You can think this in a different way. Can male makes placenta? Any takers? 50% of chance to get it right. Go.
The baby.
Yes. Yes! So the placenta is actually made by the baby. Hence, the male do make placenta as well. So let's think on this idea, which it was surprising to me as well, the first time I heard it. I'll give you a few facts. All the people in this room, because you're here and relatively healthy, we did make a placenta at some point during early development. That's how we were attached to our mom, or the uterus of the mom. And that's how cool this organ is. This is the only organ that you make outside of your body. It's not surrounded by your skin. And it's the only temporary organ that you will ever make. The placenta has a very specific function. Everything else that you make, you're going to use from wherever you make it during embryo development and birth, all the way, healthy or not, that's a different story, but you're going to use it until the end of your life. The placenta has a specific function during development. At birth, the function is over, and we usually get rid of the placenta. So that's why I think it's a very unique organ in many ways and underrated. I don't think anybody ever think about the fact that they made a placenta. And think about movies. You see, like, giving birth, the mom cries, the baby cries, the dad takes pictures. Nobody ever really tells you the story of the placenta. So I'm going to tell you the story of the placenta. So based on the type of question that you're interested, how is the placenta made? We know the function, we know who makes it, but how? So everything started from the zygote, which is the fertilized egg. This single cell has the potential to make both the placenta and the entire embryo. It starts to develop, and it goes to this stage, which is my favorite stage, which is the blastocyst. And you can see here that I colored the cells in two different colors. At this stage, the cells have made their first fate decision. The cells that colored in yellow, they know they're on the outside, and they will make the placenta. The one on the inside, which are purple, they know they're there, and they're going to make the embryo, mostly. A bit more complicated than that, but let's stick with it. So that means that although they have all the information, the purple cells will only look at the instruction manuals that goes to make the embryo, whereas the yellow one will only make the placenta. So they're going to go on and make more and more decisions in their path to develop. And don't look at all the information. There were way too many information in the last, but I think it makes the point that the purple ones will make decisions to make either the heart cells, the liver, the brain, everything else. But the yellow cells will still have loads of other decisions to make. The placenta is made of very different type of cells. And it's a bit complicated, and I don't have time in 15 minutes. But just to give you an idea, there are cells that attach the placenta to the uterus so that the placenta doesn't float around. There are the cells that form a barrier, and they control which nutrients come through and which don't, right? So we know that not everything goes to the embryo. There are also cells which are amazing. They penetrate even more, hence the body snatcher idea. They go all the way, and they found the bloodstream of the mother. And what they do is that they remodel all these arteries so that more blood will get to the embryo. And you can think that during embryo development, the baby will need more and more nutrients as it grows. So more and more blood will get into the placenta. Okay, so hopefully I've convinced you that this is a very important organ. If you're not convinced yet, I'll tell you, or actually I'm going to start to ask you if you know or can think of something that can happen if the placenta doesn't develop normally. And I told you that placenta gives nutrients to the baby. What happens if not enough nutrients get there? It's bad, yes. And the first thing is you stop growing, right? Because you don't have enough nutrients. So there is actually a condition that we study. It's called intra-uterine growth restriction. Let's say it again. Intra-uterine, inside the uterus, growth restriction. You can see here two babies. They're both term babies, 39 weeks. But one is much smaller than the other one. And that's because he hasn't received enough nutrients during development. What's amazing is that the fact that this baby has got less nutrients during development will affect his life for the entire life, like 20, 30, 40 years after birth. Sometimes these babies catch up in terms of weight. But there are studies that show that they have a higher risk of cardiovascular disease, think about heart attacks, and a higher risk of metabolic disorder, things about diabetes. So the environment that they've been exposed during pregnancy actually affects their life much longer than just the development in the womb. And I think this is not a new concept in the sense that we know that smoke during pregnancy is bad. We know that alcohol during pregnancy is bad. But I think that I'm excited about thinking what in 20 and 30 years we will know about what affects a baby and how we can make a healthier pregnancy and have healthier babies, which is the ultimate form of preventing disease, I guess. You cannot get earlier than that. There is another disease that we are interested. This is my pop culture reference here and there. So the disease is called preeclampsia. It's not very well known in general unless somebody famous might be affected. This disease actually affects the mother, and it's life-threatening for both the mother and the baby. And we know that it's associated with something that goes wrong with the placenta. It occurs in the third trimester, and it's characterized by high blood pressure, protein in the urine, which is never a good sign, even if you don't know what it is, and then edema, which is like liquid or pretty much stored where they shouldn't be stored, so you kind of swell up in your limbs. So it's really dangerous. And the only way to cure it, or to get the mother to get better and not to die, is to deliver the baby and get rid of the placenta. So that's why we know it's something associated with the placenta. What do we think goes wrong? Well, I told you that there is a balance between what the baby needs and the placenta can give. So in the third trimester, the baby needs a lot of blood and a lot of nutrients. And if the placenta hasn't developed very well earlier on, then at that point, it causes the crisis of the body. But what we really need to look into is what happens earlier on in that blastocyst stage and those early steps. That's what we're looking at. And we have no way to predict which female get preeclampsia. We have risk factors. Can women just guess some of the factors? Weight, age, having blood pressure to start with doesn't really help. But that doesn't guarantee you're going to get preeclampsia. As well as if you're a healthy mother, you're going to still get preeclampsia. So we have no markers, nothing. We just have to wait until the mother gets preeclampsia, we deliver a baby which is preterm with all the problems of having a preterm baby. So these are the questions that we're trying to answer. We're trying to understand which are the signals and how the cells from the blastocysts make the placenta. So what are the tools in my hand? We are very grateful. We have a connection with our hospital. There are mothers that decide to donate their baby's placenta to science. And so we can understand, we're trying to understand the difference between preeclamptic placenta versus normal placentas. But you can understand that we're looking at very early stages. There are ethical issues to get to these type of samples. And there are not as many, we cannot get our hands on very many. Women don't even know that they're pregnant at that stage. So we use in vitro tools, and everything that Goldstein told you about stem cells and having a disease in a dish type of model, that's what we're trying to do. And these cells come from that blastocyst, that's why it's my favorite stage. But in vitro models, it's very limited. I told you that the placenta is between the interface between the mother and the baby. So there's a lot of communication between those two, which is really difficult to translate into an in vitro when you just have cells to grow. So I indeed use mouse model, even if Goldstein didn't really appreciate that. Bearing in mind that I know that there are differences between human and mice, especially for the fact that my last female mouse got 15 pups. We have trouble when we have triplets. So I know there are differences, but that's what we have in our hands. And so we do appreciate the use of mouse model, and we're grateful for that. That's it. I'm going to just go back. I think you understand now the analogy with the invasion of the body snatchers. That's pretty much what the baby's doing with the mother. However, I want to give you a bit more of a positive vision of the baby and the placenta. This is actually a print of the blood coming from the placenta, which looks a little bit like a tree. So really, I'm not telling you that the placenta is less or more important than all the other organs that we make, but I think that we should give a little bit more credit to these organs that nobody really think about. And with that, I'm going to just show you. I do have real colleagues, even if they're not here today. And that's what they make my life in the lab fun, not only the science, but also the people there. So, and with that, I'll take some questions.